Amid the escalating tensions between US and Iran, latest coming in that President Donald Trump held a meeting in the Situation Room with senior US officials responsible for national security. And during the meeting, Trump was briefed on the details of the Tuesday's talks in Geneva between US and Iran, along with information about military deployment in West Asia. It is said that Trump is extremely angry with Iran's supreme leader's threat to sink an American aircraft carrier. Earlier, when asked about the possibility of US strikes against Iran, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Trump administration totally obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities and has been clear that diplomacy is always the president's first option.
Well, there's many reasons and arguments that one could make for a strike against Iran. The president had a very successful operation as commander-in-chief with Operation Midnight Hammer, as you know, as you just said, totally obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities. The president has always been very clear, though, with respect to Iran or any country around the world, diplomacy is always his first option, and Iran would be very wise to make a deal with President Trump and with this administration. He's talking to many people. Of course, his national security team, first and foremost, and you know who the members of that team are. And this is something, obviously, the president takes seriously. He's always thinking about what's in the best interest of the United States of America, of our military, of the American people, and that's how he makes decisions with respect to.
Now, viewers, Iran and US negotiators passed notes for 3.5 hours Tuesday during indirect talks in Geneva, though they departed with no clear resolution. And if reports from foreign media is to be believed, the US military is ready to attack Iran as early as this weekend, even though Donald Trump has not made a final decision yet on whether he'll authorize an armed confrontation with Tehran or not. The development comes amid a massive US military buildup in West Asia, including warships, fighter jets, refueling aircraft, surveillance drones, Reaper drones, and much more. Electronic warfare aircraft, everything in Donald Trump's capacity has been deployed in West Asia. Meanwhile, Iran too seems getting prepared for a war with the US. Latest satellite imagery reveals that Iran has recently built a concrete cover over a new facility at a sensitive military site and buried it under soil, advancing construction amid rising tensions with the US at a location reportedly struck by Israel in 2024, June. And the images also show Iran burying tunnel entrances at a nuclear site bombed by the US during Israel's 12-day war with Iran last year, reinforcing other tunnel entrances and also repairing missile bases damaged during the conflict.
I think you heard from the administration and the State Department yesterday that there was a little bit of progress made, but we're still very far apart on some issues. I believe the Iranians are expected to come back to us with some more detail in the next couple of weeks, and so the president will continue to watch how this plays out.
The rapid buildup of the US forces in the Middle East has progressed to a point that President Trump has option to take military action against Iran as soon as this weekend. Administration and Pentagon officials said, leaving the White House with high-stakes choices about pursuing diplomacy or war. Trump has given no indication that he has made a decision about how to proceed, but the drive to assemble a military force capable of striking Iran's nuclear program, its ballistic missiles and accompanying launch sites has continued this week, despite indirect talks between the two nations on Tuesday, with Iran seeking 2 weeks' time to come back with fleshed-out proposals for a diplomatic resolution. Citing sources familiar with the matter, a CBS report said that the timeline of a decision is expected to extend beyond the weekend, adding that Pentagon is temporarily shifting some personnel out of the Middle East in coming days as it readies for a potential Iranian counterattack if US strikes. Trump has repeatedly demanded that Iran give up its nuclear program, including agreeing not to enrich any more uranium. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, whose country would potentially take part in an attack on Iran, has been pushing for action to weaken Tehran's ability to launch missiles at Israel. The development comes amid a massive US military buildup in the Middle East, including warships, fighter jets, and refueling aircrafts, lying on the foundation for a potentially sustained campaign against Iran. A CNN news report suggests that White House has been informed that US military is ready to attack Iran by the weekend. However, Trump is still not sure if military action is the best option. Sources suggest that Trump is spending quite a lot of time in making a decision. Last year, Trump ordered strike on Iran on its nuclear program and has repeatedly threatened Tehran with further strikes if Iran does not end its nuclear program. The war between Washington and Tehran is looming, and there are multiple major factors which suggest that Trump might push the button sooner rather than later. The war between Iran and US is looming, and currently there are multiple factors suggesting that Trump might hit Tehran this weekend. While Trump is yet to take the final call, the increasing US military buildup in the Middle East suggests that US might strike Iran on February 21st, 2026. US has deployed over 50 fighter jets in the Middle East in last 48 hours. Deployment of F-22s, F-35s and F-16s fighter jets come amid talks over Tehran's nuclear program. The fresh US military buildup was reported by Axios, which cited a US official who confirmed the movement of the fighter jets. Now, apart from these 50 US fighter jets, multiple aerial refueling tankers are also being deployed in the region. The fresh deployment is seen as US getting ready for sustained operations against Iran. A US official on Friday said that the second US warship is expected to arrive in the Middle East in about a week. Now, the world's largest warship, USS Gerald R. Ford, has departed the Caribbean and is now in the mid-Atlantic. Based on the current position, the US warship is likely to arrive in the Middle East on February 20th. If the war breaks out, US is likely to strike thousands of targets, including Iran's nuclear facility and some political sites. US has reportedly concentrated about a third of its active naval forces in the Middle East. Washington currently has 13 warships in the Middle East, 1 aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, 9 destroyers, and 3 littoral combat ships, with more on the way. USS Gerald R. Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, is currently in the Atlantic Ocean en route from the Caribbean to the Middle East. The United States has 2 of its massive warships in the region in June last year, when it targeted 3 Iranian nuclear sites during Israel's 12-day campaign.